How can Americans still trust the justice system? Is it fair? Was it fair under you? And all they don't expect you to be perfect, but they expect you to treat everyone the same, Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives, but that wasn't the case. When you treat people differently because of their political status, their political party, their ideals, that's hypocrisy. And I'm sorry to say, and I don't say it lightly, I do consider you to be a hypocrite. So when this was all going on, before, and I believe it was political, before there was an entire case and we went through the whole case, you pretty much declared, and I'm not going to read the whole thing through again, that President Trump was guilty. That wasn't your job. That's a judge's job. It's a jury's job. It's not your job. Don't you think that's unfair, that's wrong, didn't make the playing field level? Did it make people less trustworthy of the system, yes or no?
No. When I announced the charges in the election case, I specifically stated that the case needed to be tried and that he had a right to go to trial and he was presumed innocent.
Let me appeal to your sense of fairness. You're saying you're a fair man. We had a January 6th committee, select committee, that was appointed only by a Democrat, the then Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. Everybody on it was a Democrat, except 2 Republicans that hated Republicans. Was that fair?
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from New Jersey.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, I don't even know where to go, because there's so much, Mr. Smith. There really is. But it isn't, what I do know is it's much more than how much people like or hate you, or like or hate Donald Trump, or like or hate Republicans, or like or hate Democrats. This is about the system. It's about what the Department of Justice did. It's about what you did. The core of the hearing is all about, can Americans still trust the justice system? Is it fair? Was it fair under you? And all they don't expect you to be perfect, but they expect you to treat everyone the same, Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives, but that wasn't the case. When you treat people differently because of their political status, their political party, their ideals, that's hypocrisy. And I'm sorry to say, and I don't say it lightly, I do consider you to be a hypocrite. With that being said, you know, I think the prosecutors and the people around you stretch norms, change standards depending upon who was under investigation. So you don't like Donald Trump, and so you're a liberal Democrat, whatever the case may be. And they went after him. And by the way, it's interesting, in all those congressional records that were subpoenaed, all those congressional records that were looked at, was one of them a Democrat? No. The answer is no. I'll answer for you. So I got simple questions. I always say I'm a simple guy, but it really boils down to this. How much can Americans trust this system? In your special counsel report, you stated President Trump engaged and was guilty of criminal conspiracies, and he was guilty of criminal conduct, and you publicly testified you believed you had the proof, etc. If prosecutors deal this way with cases, if they declare that it's guilty and it's over before a jury verdict, would Americans trust the justice system more, or would they? Would they trust the system more? The answer, go ahead, answer, please answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you were asking me.
So when this was all going on, before, and I believe it was political, before there was an entire case and we went through the whole case, you pretty much declared, and I'm not going to read the whole thing through again, that President Trump was guilty. That wasn't your job. That's a judge's job. It's a jury's job. It's not your job. Don't you think that's unfair, that's wrong, didn't make the playing field level? Did it make people less trustworthy of the system, yes or no?
No. When I announced the charges in the election case, I specifically stated that the case needed to be tried and that he had a right to go to trial and he was presumed innocent.
And thank you for, I just want a simple answer because we are limited on time. I disagree with you. I don't think you did. Your office secretly subpoenaed and got records of members of Congress, and you kept those subpoenas hidden through non-disclosure orders. That's wrong. They should have known. You want to do that, fine, it's wrong. Number one, it's wrong because people have a right, the American public has a right to know, the elected officials have a right to know, it's your right to subpoena them, but they should know. Secondly, and I brought this up before, not one Democrat, it's all Republicans, all Republicans. Everything you've done, everything you've ever done is always against Republicans. Do you think that puts more trust in the system when you're so partisan in that way? Yes or no?
No, politics played no role in our investigation. I have prosecuted Republicans and Democrats throughout my career. I have dismissed cases against Republicans and Democrats.
Because you didn't have the proof. If prosecutors routinely rely on politically imbalanced investigations, and by this I mean, let me appeal to your sense of fairness. You're saying you're a fair man. We had a January 6th committee, select committee, that was appointed only by a Democrat, the then Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. Everybody on it was a Democrat, except 2 Republicans that hated Republicans. Was that fair? Was that fair? I mean, look at our system here in Congress. We've got Democrats, man, they speak up. You've got Republicans, we speak up. You hear both sides. That's the way a select committee should be. And you based everything upon this biased, unfair, prejudiced system. How is that fair? Tell me how that's fair.
That's not correct. We conducted an independent investigation.
You based a lot on that commission. You got all their records.
That's not correct. We did collect their records. We conducted our own independent investigation following the facts and the law. The
And you used
reality
a lot of their information, Mr. Smith. I don't mean to cut you off. I've got limited time. Joe Biden took classified records that were not to be taken when he was vice president and when he was Senate. And I know you didn't deal directly with that case.
Mr. Chairman?
But nevertheless, he did. Is that fair? Because he let him go, don't do anything to him. But on the other hand, when it's President Trump who did it as president, then there was, you raided Mar-a-Lago. Is that fair?
I'm the gentleman.
Mr.
Gentleman's part of it.
Well, I'd like him to answer.
If the witness would like to respond, he can.
I have no response.
It's damn unfair. That's the answer.
We've got UC requests.
You see requests from the gentlelady from California?
Yes, I have a unanimous consent request. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the government's sentencing memorandum for Capitol rioter Cody Mattis, who said that, quote, when the former president asked his supporters to march on the Capitol, it was not a call to peacefully and patriotically make your voice
Without objection.
heard, but to storm and seize the building.
The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Nels, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Smith, I'll just cut right to the chase here. Your investigation and attempted prosecution of President Trump, it wasn't about justice. It was about politics. Politics. From day one, under the Biden-Harris DOJ, you weaponized the law to go after their top political opponent. You pushed flawed legal theories, and even the far left, Washington Post, called you out. They called you out, sir, for violating the First Amendment. You tried to criminalize political speech, slap unlawful gag orders on a presidential candidate, and spy on Republican members of Congress in violation of the Speech or Debate Clause, including the sitting Speaker of the House. Mr. Smith, you mishandled documents, pressured defense lawyers, and dumped a massive trove of so-called evidence right before the election, and you did it to sway voters. That's why you did it. And don't get me started on that raid at Mar-a-Lago or your unconstitutional appointment, which a federal judge in Florida rightly tossed out. A very bad day for you. This wasn't, Mr. Smith, about upholding the law. It was about tearing down President Trump and anyone close to him. You even tried to ram through a politically motivated final report after your cases collapsed, including the Presidential Transition Act and basic fairness. But here's the good part, America, here's the good part. The American people saw right through it. They rejected, sir, your witch hunt loud and clear in November, handing President Trump a commanding victory. The voters spoke loud and clear. They wanted an end to the weaponization of our justice system. In your opening statement, you spoke about proof of beyond a reasonable doubt. Mr. Smith, I will give you proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Donald Trump winning the popular vote by over 2 million votes. The Electoral College by 85 votes, along with every single swing state. Now, sir, that is proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the crap you were shoveling did not pass the smell test with the American people. To put it bluntly, Mr. Smith, the stink remains on you. And lastly, I would like to quickly address the police officers of January 6th. Mr. Dunn, Mr. Fanone, Mr. Gonell, Mr. Hodges. I'm a member of the new select committee to actually examine what happened that day. And I can tell you, gentlemen, that the fault does not lie with Donald Trump. It lies with Yogananda Pittman and the U.S. Capitol leadership team. We know they had the intelligence, and there was going to be a high propensity for violence that day. Claim my time, yeah.
You will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. We've had some disruptions already. We don't need that. Let the gentleman may continue.
We know the Capitol leadership team, specifically Yogananda Pittman, had the intelligence, and there was going to be a high propensity for violence that day. And the Capitol itself was the target. We knew the extremist groups were going to be there. And why do I say that? It was your own report from your intelligence section, the IICD, which was run by Pittman, in the January 3rd special events section. It was in it. It was in it. And Mr. Dunn, I believe that you thought that day would be like just any other. In your testimony to the January 6th committee, you said you found out how ugly was going to get on a cell phone. Somebody sent you some information on social media. The point is, you were all unprepared to deal with that day. And that's because your leadership failed to share the intelligence with you. It was their fault, folks. It was their fault. It was not President Trump. And we are going to expose it for the first time because the Benny Thompson, the sham committee didn't do it.
Will the gentleman yield for a
The
question?
sham committee didn't do it. The report is 845 pages. Donald Trump's name is mentioned 4,207 times. We know what the committee wanted to do is to not allow Donald Trump to come back and win again. And they failed miserably, and I hope you now can see that. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield the balance to my distinguished colleague out of Jersey.
I just want to quickly go over something because we keep rewriting history. The president said peacefully and patriotically. What don't we understand about peacefully and patriotically? He asked for the National Guard. That was ignored. He asked Speaker Pelosi. What don't we understand that?
Will the gentleman yield for a question? Are you saying
No,
Nancy Pelosi controls the National Guard?
Wait a minute.
The president
And
could have ordered the
finally,
National Guard if he wanted to, and you know that.
Claim my time. I lost some of my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from New Jersey. You have a few more seconds.
And finally, how many elected officials say we're going to fight to win an election? It's terminology used all the time, seriously. And of course, if they were guilty, they should be prosecuted. The problem was there were many in the mix.